Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront Updates. Today I wanted to do a bit of a lengthy discussion here about my thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront as a whole right now, the franchise and Battlefront 2, and what we can expect and hope for in the future of this game's lifespan and the franchise as a whole. Because I feel like at the moment there's so much up in the air, we really don't know what's gonna be in the future. So I wanted to do this a little bit like I do in my live streams, where I just discuss exactly how I feel, what my thoughts are, and not just do something scripted. So this might turn out to be a quite lengthy video, but I hope you guys don't mind. First of all, the main thing is that a lot of things are still up in the air. We really don't know the future of the Battlefront franchise, because at the same stage of the last game, we knew that a Battlefront 2 game was coming out, or we knew at least that another Battlefront game was in the works. They had mentioned it during earnings calls, so at least we knew that something was coming in the future. As of right now, we really don't know anything beyond what's coming this year, or potentially a little bit over in January and February. Because what they have announced is obviously the Clone Wars content and everything that was revealed on a roadmap that is spanning to winter this year, and winter could technically span over to 2019, but beyond that content, we don't know if there will be any more content for this game, or if there will be a Battlefront 3 or something completely else. I personally feel like the Battlefront franchise has so much more to give, and there is such a large core community, and if you could then make a game that really catered to everyone, I think it could be absolutely huge, because there is no denying that the launch of this game definitely put off the game to a lot of people who might actually enjoy the game if they would have picked it up after March or something like that. I mean, I can talk to people who I don't know through YouTube and just random people about gaming, and I'll mention Battlefront 2 and they might still think it's pay to win. So even though the game is fixed, that's still the perception that a lot of people have, and something big is probably required for them to change their mind, whether it's a huge marketing campaign for the new content or basically just a brand new game. But overall, I just feel like this franchise and this game, to be honest, still has so much more to give. I mean, I hoped after hearing all the marketing about this game that this would be like the new platform for Star Wars games, where we can get content from all the new Star Wars content coming out, whether it's comics, a new animated series, a new movie, etc. It would all be the platform where, oh, there's a new Clone Wars episode coming out today, let's see what Battlefront is gonna have for that. You know, that kind of things is what I always hoped that this game would be. I mean, since the launch of the game, we had The Last Jedi and Solo, and we obviously did get some content around that, but I think the main problem there was that there was still a lot of Clone Wars content missing and such that people wanted before that, and on top of that, the actual content in those movies were not the best game-friendly content, I would say. But after March, I think a lot of us hoped that now we're finally getting into this live service that we were promised, because now everything that was bad at launch has been fixed, and unfortunately it didn't really happen, because we never got those big drops of content. We got a small trickle of content, although I do think it started off very well with that Ewok count update that showed that they were willing to do something different, something I'd hoped for with this live service, that it wasn't just here's another hero and another galactic assault map, here's another hero and here's another galactic assault map. They would expand the game into different types of game modes, completely different experiences, which would in that way also mean that they can reach a lot further into the Star Wars universe. They could have 10 different hunt modes coming out over the span of 2 years and things like that. But then it kind of slowed down, and it kind of felt like the game was pretty much dead. And then the massive EA Play announcement came with all the Clone Wars content that we have been wanting: 4 new heroes, Conquest-ish mode, Geonosis, squad system, and so on. And then the roadmap came out and killed the excitement for that update a little bit, at least, considering that it was further into the future than we had all hoped for. I mean, the content is still coming. As a Battlefront player, you have things to be excited for at least the rest of this year. But it's always hard to be excited when you don't know what's in the future. Because the way I see it personally is that the things they're adding now are things that adds a lot of longevity to the game. 4 new heroes, but most importantly, a squad system to play with friends and a non-linear game mode. That's why Battlefield has lived on for so long, because people love playing Conquest. And although this might not be an exact copy of Conquest, it does sound like something that's gonna add a lot of replayability to this game, So if they were to just say, here's the game mode, bye bye, the support for the game is over, that would be extremely disappointing. So why did this happen? Well, I think the main issue is really Battlefield 5. They probably moved almost everyone over to Battlefield 5 because they could not afford another launch as Battlefront 2's launch. No PR fiasco, no tech issues. They want a flawless launch, so they've probably focused on having most developers on Battlefield 5. And that also makes me think that the kind of deciding point for this game, whether or not it will get future content, will be somewhere around September, I'd guess, because Battlefield 5 is released in October, which means that most developers will probably be done in September, except for the people doing the polishing work. So at that point, they'll probably decide, should we shift back a ton of developers to Battlefront 2 or to something else? I mean, initially they're gonna have to have some developers on there, because they've already committed to the Geonosis content, the heroes and so on. But beyond that, will we get more support for Battlefront 2 or not? It's really hard to say, but it does feel like they want to go further, although they're not committing, if you know what I mean. Because we've gotten so much better communication since somewhere back in March, with active updates all the time. If something breaks, Ben is out there responding almost instantly. We got the community transmission, and it seems like we are getting the developer streams, hopefully starting up sometime in August or September. So that part is going in the right direction, and we got the roadmap as well. It shows that they're willing to not just give up on the game, I mean, on top of all the content they've announced, but it also feels like they're not 100% committing either. I really hope that this isn't just a case of, oh look at this, we gave them everything they want, but then we cut the support right after, just so that we could look good. That's what I'm worried about, that they're gonna say, well, you got a roadmap, you got the communication, you got Geonosis, and then they cut it. And if you just go back to look at the marketing before the game, they did promise years of support. I mean, you can even look at that statement they gave after removing the loot boxes, that they will be supporting and balancing this game for years. So if they cut it out after 2018, that is going to be very disappointing, and they will basically have lied to us. So that's something I really don't want. So before I move on to talking about future Battlefront games or what the future could behold, I also wanted to talk a little bit about what can we do about trying to make this game live on. Well, the main thing is that keep suggesting things, keep pushing for, we want more Clone Wars content, we want Clone Wars Revival content next year, we want Episode 9 content. Keep doing that, because the thing is, if people are only negative and trashing the game, if that's all you do, you basically just help kill the game. Because if a game has only people trashing about it and there's no positivity whatsoever, it's a lot easier for EA to just say, oh well, no one likes the game, let's cut support and get rid of it and kind of brush it away and hope everyone forgets it. Versus if everyone's like, give us Clone Wars Revival content, give us Ahsoka, give us Episode 9 content, give us Resistance content, and then they cut the support, then that will make a lot more noise. It will put a lot more pressure on them. Like, I'm not saying you should stop complaining about bugs and so on. Obviously, do that. Give them fair criticism. Help them fix the bugs. But if you just want to trash on the game, if that's all you're in for it, please don't. It really doesn't benefit anyone. By giving really thoughtful suggestions and pushing them for new content and telling them what we want beyond what they've already announced, and that's the kind of stuff that will motivate them to make more content. And also, to be clear, who do you think see those comments or videos or posts trashing the game? Do you think that's the EA executives deciding on how much resources to put on the game, or the DICE executives deciding how many developers that gets to work on the game? No, it's the developers that are working in a seemingly small team, still trying to make this game as good as it can be, who sees that. And I'm pretty sure that does not motivate them to work harder and better if they just get trashed on. Like, again, don't get me wrong, there has been a lot of bugs, there has been a lot of unacceptable things with this game. Keep pushing for that, keep bringing those things up. But hear my point, that if you're just gonna trash the game, it will not benefit the game at all. The only way that was gonna happen is if you do as much noise as we all did at the Battlefront 2 launch to remove the loot boxes, and that's not gonna happen because we're not in a situation like that right now. In that case, it's better if we try to just pressure them for more content to make it harder for them to just say, bye bye game, we're cutting the support now. But yeah, if we move on to the future then, what do I think, or what do I hope for the future? Well, I don't really see a Battlefront 3 happening. First of all, they haven't announced a new Battlefront game, so that's kind of the first hint towards the fact that we might not get a Battlefront 3. And secondly, if we do, what could they do in that game to make it exciting and for it to sell copies? I mean, going from the first to second game, they added 2 new eras, they added space battles, they added a campaign, they had a ton of stuff to sell the game. But if they do a new one, I'm not really sure what they could do. If they bring over all the content from this game and launch with a proper progression system, that's still not enough for a lot of people to buy the game. And even if they add more Clone Wars planets, more heroes, maybe a brand new campaign, I'm not sure if that's still enough to warrant a third game, and that's why I think most of us hope that Battlefront 2 will be the Battlefront game. But I feel like if Battlefront 3 happens, that might not be until, I don't know, 2020, 2021 at some point where we have completely new content to revolve around. Maybe the live action series or Rian Johnson's new trilogy could bring in enough content to warrant a new Battlefront game. But I don't see a Battlefront 3 happening anytime soon with the current Star Wars lore. But I think it's either gonna be a continuation of Battlefront 2 if we can convince them to keep supporting this game, or something different that's maybe not even Battlefront. I mean, we already have the open world Star Wars game being done by Motive, and we have the Fallen Order game by Respawn. But I don't think any of those two are gonna cater to the same players as Battlefront. I mean, Star Wars gamers definitely will play all of them, but I'm saying the shooter part and the hero-on-hero combat and vehicles and large-scale battles, I don't get the feeling that those games are gonna cover that. So if Battlefront were to die with Battlefront 2 and we wouldn't have any more content, I think that's a huge lost opportunity for EA that just goes straight down the drain, because there's gonna be a lot of people who still want that large-scale Star Wars Battlefront feeling, and there's so much more for that franchise to give, whether it's with more Battlefront 2 content or with something completely else. I mean, Galactic Conquest is still a large thing that hasn't been covered in this game, and I feel like if you made a Galactic Conquest with the tech we have today, it could be something amazing. I mean, sure, all credit to the old games, but that was basically just normal battles on the ground with a little map selector up in space with a little bit extra effects. Really fun for its time, but it would not really be full-blown Galactic Conquest if we got that now. But I think they could do something amazing for that. But I'm still not sure if that would warrant a Battlefront 3, because I feel like that would still have to include almost all content in this game, otherwise it would be a very empty Battlefront 3. So right now I just think we're all waiting. We want to know about the future of this game first and foremost. Is there any future beyond Geonosis? I think the first step is obviously in August when we see the updated roadmap. Will they be adding anything to it, or will they be removing something, or will it just be the same? Because if they suddenly start popping in extra things there, whether it's just more skins or new heroes or a new map or anything really, it shows that they're willing to expand and that they are hopefully more willing to give more content to the game. But I still think that in August it might not be 100% decided regarding this whole developer thing, because I think in September will be when the most developers are done on Battlefield 5, and I feel like at that point they will know how much developers are Battlefront 2 getting back, and how big will the development team be moving on. And I know EA is a profit-driven company, like most game companies are of course, and I don't think they've seen the true potential of what Battlefront 2 can generate. I mean, sure, they have released a couple of cool skins, but it's always been to the point where we've already farmed so much credits that I'm guessing most people could buy them without paying real money. The solo season was probably the first time where they actually got some significant money from the game, because they had 4 legendary skins at once. And I'm not even sure if August will generate enough money. I mean, even if they release all those clone skins, which I'm guessing they won't based on the roadmap, so if they release 4 or 5 clone legions, I mean, come on, most of us will be able to buy them like instantly without having to spend any money. So it needs something more to show. It needs a consistent flow. Every 2 weeks, boom, new skin, boom, new skin. Legendary skin for Luke, legendary skin for Maul, legendary skin for Palpatine. They keep coming out at a rate where you need to spend money if you want them all, and trust me, Star Wars fans want to pay money for cool shit. I mean, just look at an average Star Wars fan's shelf of collectibles. I think people would do the same thing in Battlefront. And I think that also brings me up to the point where people will spend money on the game if they know there's a future. Whereas if they know the game might be cut off from support a few months from now, they might not be as inclined to spend money. So my hope is that they will come out sometime soon. They can't just wait until the end of the year to tell us what's in it for the future of Battlefront. A new game, more Battlefront 2 content throughout the entire year of 2019. Who knows? But I think it's important for them to say that before all the content starts coming out, because I really do think that it's gonna put a kind of bad aftertaste on when everyone is playing and when all these cool modes and heroes are coming out, if the support for those heroes and game modes will be gone in a few months. And I hope that's something they will come out and say soon. Again, I'm guessing maybe September, October, when they actually know for sure. Will be when they give us a statement regarding that. But as of right now, as a Battlefront player, it's really about the content in the near future, which I'm excited for nevertheless. Seeing all those heroes in the Frostbite engine, playing Conquest-ish game mode and all that stuff, and seeing Geonosis as well. I am excited for that, no matter what the future of this game holds. Although if I know there's content beyond that, it's gonna be even more exciting, that's for sure. But I will still play that nevertheless. I'm probably gonna have a lot of fun with it. And no matter what the future holds, that doesn't change anything about the content already announced. But like I said, I think people will be more inclined to spend money on skins. I think people will be more inclined to start playing this game if they know the support behind this. And I hope this could be the change for Battlefront 2, where they would put up a big marketing campaign for all the new content, saying it's coming for free for everyone who owns the game. The game is what, $15-20 now. Come in and play the game, and boom, suddenly there's a bunch of new players and they see, let's continue throughout 2019, let's give them some Resistance content, let's give them some Clone Wars Revival content, and of course, let's give them some Episode 9 content at the end of next year. That's what I hope for in the future of Battlefront 2, but until we know more, I can only speculate. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below about what you think about the future of the franchise as a whole, and the game of course, and what you think about my thoughts. Am I completely wrong or could I be right? Who knows? But thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.